What's up, it's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video today. We are watching UnrealEntGaming. I may or may have not watched 14 minutes of this video, and my mic wasn't on. But so yeah, that happened, and yeah. So we're gonna get into it. Today, it's gonna be a 2-in-1. Today we're watching the Beyond Dragon Ball Super, the top 5 strongest warriors confront Goku and Vegeta. The new rules explained, and then we're gonna add another one to this one. So we're gonna get into it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and there you go. I'll believe y'all. All right, cool. Y'all can hear me.
As our story now continues, following the initial events of Vegeta being shown getting thrown out of the Mirror Realm by the Elder Sage and now having to be confronted yet again by Goku and the others, as with Vegeta now being shown having to be left dumbfounded while on the ground on Beerus' planet, was when Goku went on to then walk on over by then responding, "Hey, so how did it go in there with the Elder Sage, Vegeta? Because not for nothing, bud, and I really don't think that any of us really expected to see you back here so soon. So were you able to do it?" Goku questions. "Were you just about to go and find out more about if whether or not there was something in the cards for you in regards to finding a new transformation that goes far beyond your current strongest one?" With Vegeta responding, "Bro, and just who does that so-called elder think he is by putting his hands on me the way he did to throw me out like that? Bro, curse that ridiculous old fool and his annoyingly pointless and stupid riddles." "Oh, so I take it that he was pretty vague with you as well, huh?" Goku went on to then chime back in. "Well, that Elder Sage had went and did the same thing with me, but strangely enough, he did go as far as to hint as to how I could have went and transcended myself into, oh, just give it a rest now, will you, Kakarot? As he didn't go and tell me anything that I didn't already know, and if there was something that I was trying to understand," Vegeta continues, "then he only continued to go and drop more riddles and talk around the subject, rather than just go and tell me as to what I needed to go and do in order to get to where I needed to be, and so now pipe down." "Interesting," Beerus then responds, "and so what exactly was it that you were able to go and gather together that the Elder Sage had told you about, which are things that you didn't already know about then? Because surely you had to have been given some kind of information that would go and help you rediscover your pathway towards attempting to achieve a new level of power. And so now what exactly was it that he had told you while inside, Saiyan?" With Vegeta then responding, "Well, what this so-called Elder Sage had implied when asking was unlike anything that I've heard before, for he had only went and mentioned that if there was a power that was waiting for me that goes far above and beyond my mastered ultra ego level, then it isn't going to be anything close to being similar to my previous transformations or even ultra ego itself, but whatever this is, if it just so happens to be true," Vegeta continues, "is something else entirely, and something that strays far away from the traditional roads that I've walked down so far. And what's worse was that he also went and said that if I wish to truly find out on what lies beyond my limits and to see what's on the other side, then according to him, my path to power lies not through the roads of life like the one that Kakarot was shown walking down to achieve his angel status, but instead, my road will have to go and take me down the path of death instead." With Goku responding, "Wait, through death? Well, although it was hard for me to go and figure out by what the Elder Sage had meant when I first visited him, it didn't really dawn upon me by what he said until the day came where I found myself on the brink of death against the top 5 strongest warriors in the multiverse, and even then, it all went and happened so fast that I almost missed my chance. But do you think that if we go and continue to train a little harder, then maybe it'll help accelerate it?" With Vegeta responding, "Well, maybe, but there's no guarantee, for he almost made it sound like I needed to undergo some kind of a ritual or something for this to go and work, but even now, I don't intend on stopping until I figured out a way to ascend beyond where I currently am," Vegeta says. "But be that as it may, don't go and get the wrong idea either here, Kakarot.
Okay, Kakarot.
Because although I plan on continuing our training, now that I was given some kind of an idea as to what it is that I would need to go and essentially do, you better go and start counting your days, because not only am I going to start punching your stupid face a lot harder than I did before," Vegeta continues, "but I also plan on succeeding in my quest in acquiring a new level of power that'll go as far as to rival your angelic one." With Goku responding, "Well, although you should know better than anyone warned that I wouldn't try to go and stand in your way of reaching your goals here, but I think that you really ought to think about what it was that the Elder Sage had told you, Vegeta, and that's only because from what it sounds like, the way he talked about my next stages of power was not only by having me merge the greater sums of my nature into one, but well, by also going through some kind of a rebirth stage where I would be one with my calling. But you, well, yours just sounds like the complete opposite and a little dark as well, and so I just hope that you go and think about this, because inevitably enough with what he went on to mention, it could go on to mean anything. But then it was only just within that very moment from out of nowhere as a portal went on to open up near the others was when Whis went on to then quickly interrupt by responding, well, the two of you might want to go and hold that thought for now, because it would appear as though we may in fact have some unexpected company, with Beerus responding, company? What company, Whis? For I never said that anyone else could touch down onto my planet without having me go and approve of them first, and so what is this? And what exactly is this strange realm that is shown emanating from the other side here, with Goku having to then chime in, hey, yeah, I see it now too, but is it me, or does that also look like some kind of a ring floor, as the Grand Priest went on to then reappear by then responding, well, even though I wasn't expecting to return here into your universe again so soon, it is still nevertheless a pleasure to be back with you all once more, and only this time around, I just so happen to come bearing some very interesting news in the meantime that I'm more than certain will capture your attention, and so I do hope that you all go and listen very closely to what it is that I'm about to go and say here today, for this message here is for all of you and not just Goku and Vegeta, which speaking of, as I am glad that the two of you just so happen to still be here, because the matters of which I need to go and speak to you both about is one of extremely important significance, and especially one involving you, Goku, as Vegeta went on to then respond, oh, there, you see, and I can already guarantee that you'll be the one who was responsible for it too, Kakarot, with Goku asking, wait, really? And don't just go and say all of that now, Vegeta, because we don't even know as to what he wants to go and talk to us all about, with Beerus being shown having to be agitated by then shouting, what are you two idiots doing by just standing around like that for? Do you not have any shame while in the presence of the Grand Minister? And so now bow your heads and show him some respect, Saiyans, with the Grand Priest responding, now there, God of Destruction, while I do appreciate your respectful wishes to go and have the mortals bow, I think that we can go and make an exception for the time being, since I was already here just training with them a little over an hour ago, and so you can just go and relax, as anyhow, the reason as to why I've returned was because I wanted to go and inform you all on some very important matters which both myself and the Omni Kings have been working on ever since they called for me after sparring with both Goku and Vegeta, and as the events that I am about to go and disclose to all of you not only happens to involve mortal warriors such as both Goku and Vegeta, but they will also just so happen to involve deities such as Lord Beerus and Whis as well, as Whis went on to then question, no my, well do they now? Well, this was certainly unexpected, with Beerus shouting, wait, and what do you mean that this just so happens to involve deities like myself? For I didn't go and do anything wrong here, and so why am I being dragged into this mess? What did I do? Go on now, tell him, Whis, for we weren't involved in anything that these mortals may have caused, right, Whis? Tell him. Well, now calm down, God of Destruction, the Grand Priest responds, for I had never went and said anything about having you do anything wrong here, nor did I happen to mention anything about having you be in any kind of trouble here either, and so you may want to go and put aside your fear of being in trouble by myself or the Omni Kings, because that was not what I was referring to, as a nervous Beerus went on to then respond, so I don't like the sound of whatever it is that the Grand Minister is about to go and announce whatsoever here, Whis. And judging based on what the Grand Minister is here for, Beerus continues, watch this all somehow go and point back to that idiot student of yours, Goku, Whis. Mark my words here, for I can already promise you that he is the one that is more than likely behind whatever it is that he is about to go and tell us, and so that much I can already be sure of, with the Grand Priest being shown having to pull one of his lists out by then responding, and well, now that I have everyone's attention, I would like to announce that courtesy of the Omni Kings, there is going to be a special Omniversal event that is going to be scheduled that will not only call upon every mortal selected to participate, but this will also just so happen to include every God of Destruction to also participate in this Omniversal event, less of course they warrant on being obliterated from existence if they just so happen to refuse, as Beerus went on to then faint near Whis, with Whis responding, oh goodness, well this isn't good, are you alright, Lord Beerus? With Whis being shown catering to Beerus, with Goku then responding, no, wow, wow, so wait, and what exactly is this Omniversal event going to be? Is this what I'm assuming for it to be? As Beerus went on to then sit up by then responding, I knew that you had something to do with this, Goku, because it always does, and now look what you've gotten us all into, Saiyan! And now the gods are forced to be a part of whatever ideas you went and fed the Omni Kings, you idiots! With the Grand Priest then pointing out by then responding, well, maybe, but this Omniversal event is a little bit more complicated than either of you want to assume for it to be. However, what I will say is not only is this grand event going to showcase many of the strongest warriors to ever exist, but on top of it all, in fact, and I think that you all might want to redirect your focus elsewhere, since some of the many warriors who are going to be taking part of this massive event are actually all with us here right now. To which it was only then surprisingly enough from out of nowhere, unbeknownst to Goku and Vegeta, with the 5 strongest then shown having to arrive, was when Yoshido went on to appear behind Goku by then responding,
this nigga, okay, Yoshido.
It isn't the macho Saiyan mortal Goku, for it's been a little bit of a while now, hasn't it? As I can already see that you've been keeping busy around these neck of the woods here in the 7th, and so I trust that you've been training very hard since the last time we went and saw you. But tell us, Goku, surely you haven't forgotten about us since the day we left your planet now, did you? Because that would be quite the oversight on your part if you did. With Yoshido then continuing, for we have so much catching up to do since last time, and I just can't wait to hear all about what you've been up to this entire time, because guess what? You aren't the only one with a few interesting stories to tell along the way, and so it's so good to see you again. With Goku then shockingly enough responding, whoa, wait a second, Yoshido? Is that really you? And just what in the world made you of all people want to come into Universe 7? And more importantly is that how did you even know that we were all on Lord Beerus' planet here to begin with? Because, well, this is certainly an unexpected surprise, and so how did you even manage to get here without having any of us go and detect your presence? With Yoshido responding, well, I guess you could say that I have my ways of getting around, but I'm glad that you are still able to remember me, because let me go and tell you something, Goku. I certainly haven't forgotten about you, for it was as I just said, and that was we have a lot to talk about, which was one of the reasons as to why I'm here, but I'm definitely not alone here either. Oh, you didn't think that I had went and forgotten about you Saiyans now, did you? Budo then went on to purposely bump into Vegeta by then responding, because that couldn't be further from the truth, especially you, for I had went and made sure to remember that face of yours personally. What the?
Yeah, we ain't worried about that.
Of course, Vegeta went on to then turn over his shoulder by then responding, it's you, for I should have known that you'd go and be here too. With a surprised Goku then responding, oh, whoa, you're here with Yoshido too, Budo? But how? And just where in the world did the two of you just so happen to have came in from? Because how were we not able to go and sense you arriving here from out of nowhere like that? With Budo responding, well, the question of why we are here isn't nearly as important as the question of if you are both ready, because I have a personal bone to pick and score to settle with the both of you. And so understand that we are not just simply here to pay you all a visit, but with you aside, son Goku, it seems as though you have taken issue with my arrival on this planet, Vegeta, because while you don't appear to look very pleased by having to see me enter into your domain like this, Budo continues, then if you truly have a problem with having to come face to face with me like this, especially with how it was that you and I had left off the last time we had encountered one another, then why don't you go and straighten up your act and do something about it then, Saiyan? Wait a second now, just hold on for a moment here. Could it really be? A nervous Beerus went on to then ask, Whis, do you see what I'm seeing right now? For those are the members of the top 5 strongest warriors in the entire multiverse, but why are they here? And more importantly, how was it that they were able to arrive onto my world without me having to even sense a trace of their presence in the meantime? Well, I'm sure that whatever reasons they find
okay, Vegeta. Vegeta about to power up.
Responding must be an important one, Lord Beerus. But I'm sure that whatever reason they have on coming onto this planet won't be kept for a secret for too long, and as I'm sure that we are bound to get an explanation sooner rather than later, as Yoshido went on to then turn towards Goku by responding, no, don't worry, Saiyan, we aren't here to hurt you. Well, maybe Budo is, but we decided to go and tag along and pay you a little visit, and that is simply because we in fact actually have a few important things to go and fill both you and your little friends in on. In fact, I actually think that you'll just love the idea, Goku. And well, of course, I mean you should, since it was your original idea that was brought up to us anyways, and so I sure do hope that you're ready, Son Goku. As Vegeta went on to then stare at Budo by then responding, "Oh, so you want me to go and do something about it then, huh? Well, that's fine by me, because I've been waiting for the day where I would go and get the chance to knock you out cold, and so why go and waste any more time? So let's go and do this." But then, it was only just then from in between Goku and Vegeta beneath them, as Akuma went on to then make his presence known, was when Akuma then went on to quickly respond, "That's enough out of both of you, for you will not go and find yourselves waging war on this tiny planet so soon, and especially since we didn't intend on coming here and looking for a fight, or at least not yet, and so because of this, you will not go and proceed with your actions while we are here to address you both, Saiyans. But even now, it has been far too long since the last time that I went and had seen your face, Son Goku.
Oh, shit.
And don't you dare think even for a second that I had forgotten about our battle," Akuma continues, with Goku responding, "Whoa, you're here too, Akuma? And well, I mean, how could I go and forget, especially since you were the one who went and handed me my first defeat after battling against Budo, and so I didn't forget, but why exactly are you guys here all of a sudden?" Goku questions, and more importantly is, what exactly do you all wish to speak to all of us about? Well, the answer to that is quite simple, a voice went on to then quickly interrupt in between both Goku and Vegeta, as it was only then with Tekira now being shown having to make his presence known was when Tekira then went on to continue, "Though the tensions among you all still appears to linger from our previous encounters, I can go as far as to assure you both that our presence in this realm and onto this world is by no means an accident, Son Goku, for the matters of which have brought us all here are far more important that need to be addressed face to face. And since you are both already here, it's time that we go and fill you both in on what is about to go and happen, so that way you are both fully prepared for once that time comes." As Vegeta then went on to quickly respond, "Oh, you see, I knew that this would all come down to you, for you are always the one to go and screw everything up for the rest of us, now don't you, Kakarots? Hey now, don't just go blaming me for why they're all here all of a sudden, Vegeta, for this might actually end up involving something else that we are both totally unaware of, and so go and cut me some slack a bit, would ya? Because by the end of the day, I'm just as surprised to see all of them here as you are, Vegeta, so just relax." Well, I'm glad that everyone is now finally here, because now that you all are, I'll go ahead and give you all a minute to say whatever is on your mind that you would like to express to one another before we go and get into all of the details behind this upcoming event, the Grand Prix says. And so you may go ahead and get whatever it is that you wish to say off of your mind now, so that way I can begin. As Tekira went on to then walk past the others by approaching Goku and Vegeta by then responding, "Now while we are all here and with good purpose given what it is that we know, we will not engage with them here and now, as this would defeat the purpose of what lies ahead of us," Tekira says, "for this is not the right place, nor is it the right time for any action to be taken here against them. And while we are here to address you mortals in regards to what it is to come, if you're still curious and wondering about what this event is truly centered around, if you just so have happened to assume that this was going to involve us competing within another tournament, then you would be correct in your assumptions," Tekira continues, "for that is exactly what this grand Omniversal event is going to be all about. And while this Omniversal event promises to bring together the mightiest warriors from across various different realms and dimensions," Tekira continues, "the two of you, especially you, Son Goku, can make no mistake about the fact that the five of us are going to be keeping very close tabs on you when this all finally begins." As Budo went on to then chime in, "Well, I say, why wait for the tournament to begin when we can just go and fight them here and now while they're all still here?" As Tekira went on to then interrupt by responding, "Because regardless of that fact, Budo, we would ultimately upset the Omni Kings if we do, and so in the spirit of competition while maintaining our honor, we will hereby wait until the tournament officially begins, and then we will go and see as to where this conflict between us is going to go. And so while we come to you here just as Son Goku had once came to us," Tekira continues, "there is no doubt that after meeting you both, we'd be lying if we said that we weren't anticipating a battle with you at some point, given if you are able to make it far enough to even reach us. And so before the Grand Minister goes and explains the rules along with how this upcoming tournament is going going to be structured, we are here to inform you both that for your sake, we hope that you're ready. And while a lot has changed since the last time we had all seen one another, and I just want you both to know, especially you, Son Goku, that we had been looking forward to something like this for a very long time. And since we don't expect for there to be another distraction that will result in any of our battles being thrown out as a result, Tekira continues, and I just hope you go and know that I haven't forgotten about our rematch, Son Goku, as it was only right then and there during that moment where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super story of the Omniverse.
Beyond Dragon Ball Super, an early warning to Goku and Vegeta, a sudden ambush as a new enemy emerges. Okay, let's go.
As our story now continues, following the unexpected and yet surprising arrival of the top 5 strongest warriors in the multiverse having to now be shown making their way into Universe 7, as with all 4 of its 5 members including Budo, Akuma, Yoshido, and Tekira being shown having to address both Goku and Vegeta, was when Goku was shown having to address Tekira by then responding, well, I gotta be honest here and say that I really didn't think that either one of us had ever expected to see the 4 of you here, let alone in having you all travel all this way onto Lord Beerus's planet like this, but I guess since all of you are now already here, I will say that it's really good to see you all once again, especially you, Tekira, with Vegeta having to then chime in. Yeah, well, I don't exactly share the same enthusiasm here that Kakarot does in seeing any of you once again, for you might as well just go and cut right to the chase and tell us on exactly why you are all here and what you had been looking to speak to the both of us about here, because we were in the middle of something, with Goku then responding, no, and just so you know, I haven't forgotten about our rematch either, Tekira, as I was actually looking forward to it one day, as a matter of fact, because this time I can only go as far as to promise you that there won't be anything that gets in the way of what we wanted to go and finish from the last time, and so that much I can assure you, with Tekira responding, while I admire your will to still remember our battle in wanting to finish what was previously started between us, I am only here to simply warn you both respectfully that while this coming event promises to be a grand one, I simply want you both just to know that you will not be winning by the very end of it, as Yoshido went on to then appear behind Goku and Vegeta by then responding, and while the 2 of you are bound to be the most interesting of the bunch that myself and the others are going to be paying very close attention to, and I just want you both to simply understand that no matter how far you end up going in this upcoming tournament, your road to victory will end with us, and we are going to make sure that you 2 find out firsthand, if you're even lucky enough to make it far enough and having to reach the 5 of us anyways, and especially you, Son Goku, as Budo then went on to then chime in, and unlike before, you will not be so lucky to go and make it out of this situation against us with a victory over your head, because we went as far as to make sure that the mistakes that were made before aren't going to be made against us ever again, and that much I can promise you, as Goku then went on to quickly respond, wow, so you guys really aren't messing around this time, aren't you, Goku questions? And I can tell because your energy feels far more powerful between each of you than how it was the last time that I saw you guys, with Vegeta then having to then chime in, and what exactly makes you warriors so sure that it'll be you who will walk away from this Omniversal event as its winner and not either one of us, with Akuma having to then respond, because we made sure that after engaging against Son Goku once before, and after watching you wage your battle on Earth when you did, that we had made sure that whatever flaws we may have had prior to this upcoming event was to already be corrected for the future. And so now do not go and think of this upcoming tournament as merely being a stage where the 2 of you will go on to try and dominate everything in its entirety so easily, Akuma continues, because we made sure to go out of our way to not only ensure that victory falls within our favor as a result of this, but despite with everything that it was that we've experienced in facing you, Son Goku, we are also going to go and make sure that you pay dearly for your actions against some of us, as we don't intend on watching you stand victorious over any of us ever again.
Akuma, shut your bitch ass up. You got choked out.
Akuma continues, and so now let this go and serve as being
Akuma
your
got
one and
choked
only
out.
reminder going forward, because the next time that we all go and gather together like this
By
will be
Primal
the very
Ultra
day
Instinct,
where
man,
this
not
very
even-
warning turns into a reality for you, and this applies to both of you. Gosh, well, with the way you guys go and put it, Goku then responds, it sounds like this upcoming tournament is really going to be something something that you all are not only looking forward to, but are also kind of intending on using as a way to go and try to get your rematch here against me as well, which, well, if I'm going to be honest here, I haven't really seen you all be this serious since the actual day where we all battled against one another, which was well over a year ago, with Yoshido then having to then chime in. Well, you can't really stand there and act all surprised when we went and had warned you well over a year ago that we will come back for you, and even though that day may not be today, we instead went and figured that we might as well go and come here and remind you of what you already had coming, Son Goku, with Vegeta then having to then question, and what makes you all so certain that the tables between us aren't going to be turned within our favor once this tournament begins, with Budo then having to then point out by then responding, because if you are to go and assume that this is going to be as easy as you think that it's going to be, then I might as well go and make an example of you by proving you wrong here and now, because unlike you, I don't need no tournament to go and prove that otherwise, when I can just go and simply crush you right now instead and save us all the trouble of having to wait for this spectacle to begin with.
Little shut your bitch ass
no
up.
idea on what you are going up against here, Saiyan, as Yoshido went on to then tap Goku from behind by then responding, oh, but don't worry too much about what awaits you, Son Goku, because all you really need to know is that we haven't forgotten about you, and since you and your friend over here are going to be partaking in this upcoming event alongside with us, we just want you to go and know ahead of time that we look forward to our next encounter, and we hope that you are too, with Akuma then responding, and so in the meantime, while we wait on the day where we will all be summoned again to do battle against you all, we just hope that for your sake, the two of you will come ready, because we most definitely will be, and so I hope that you understand that we are going to go and keep very close tabs on you both, and for your sake, you better go and come prepared, because I don't intend to lose to you again, Saiyan. But then, it was only within that very moment, surprisingly enough, as Tekira had gone as far as to grab onto Budo's arm and trying to talk Budo out of what he was about to do, was when Budo had then gone as far as to put this into question by responding, what the, and just what exactly do you think you are doing? You better let go of me, Tekira, because I'm not going to have you grab a hold of me like this, with Tekira responding, and while I understand that you are very eager to go and get your hands on them, you and I both know that this is not the right time, nor is this the right place for us to go and cause any trouble prior to this upcoming event, and so we will go and save these matters for when the time calls for us to be summoned again, and not go off and start something that we won't be allowed to go and finish, as Budo then went on to turn around by then responding, well, be that as it may, then let this go and serve as being a warning to you both for the day this tournament is set to begin, as no matter which one of you it is that I end up finding myself battling against, I am going to break you in half when this is all said and done, and especially you, Son Goku, because this time, Budo continues, you will not be so lucky to walk away from our battle victorious, as Tekira went on to then address Goku and Vegeta by then continuing, and so while the arena that awaits us all will go as far as to test our very nature and seeing where we all stand amongst some of the best, for your sake, we hope that you go and prepare yourselves beyond what you think that you may know, otherwise you will go and find yourselves buried beneath the weight of a challenge that is unlike any other, and while we aren't quite familiar with what you are truly capable of outside of what we've seen from you during your battle that was waged on Earth, Tekira went on to address Vegeta by then responding, I just want you to go and know that if, and only if, our roads wind up coming to a head, since you weren't originally a part of the first tournament that was held in the Null Realm against us, then you better go and bring more than just your best, because if you and I were to end up in a battle against one another, Tekira continues, then I will not hesitate to go and do what I must in order for me to claim victory over you, Tekira says. Do you understand? And so now keep that in mind, and as for you, Son Goku, just know that if you end up finding yourself being lucky enough to not be eliminated during some of the early rounds within this tournament, Tekira continues, then I simply want you to go and know that for every battle that you face and every warrior that you manage to overcome will only bring you one step closer towards having to face me. For my desire to face you is stronger now than it ever was before, and unless your ally Vegeta here is to be able to reach me before you are able to, then just know that this time I will not be making the same mistakes that I made before, Tekira continues, because now that I have seen the stakes of this tournament and the nature of your angelic transformation, I expect for you to go and meet me with every every ounce of power, control, and resilience that you possess, because I will not go and have anything stand in the way of our battle like how it was shown having to be when we had went and battled before. And so now let this serve as being a reminder that while the two of you may have had the time to go and improve and grow stronger since the last time that we saw each other, Tekira continues, understand that we weren't slacking around this entire time either, and especially not after everything we've seen that came from the two of you, with you being the primary focus, Son Goku. So while I didn't come here to issue any idle threats, I instead come to you with a message, Tekira continues upon being shown having to walk away. For that very message is a simple one, and that is for you to go and tread very carefully upon this upcoming tournament that awaits us, because the two of you weren't the only ones who've went and devoted themselves into growing stronger along the way, and so with that, we will go and see you both very soon, with a shocked Vegeta having to then respond, "Wait, so hold on a second, they've been added and also having to go and train themselves too? For now I can see on why they all had appeared to be so confident upon having to come here," with Goku responding, "Well, this isn't good because, well, if they were as difficult as I remember them being prior to having them train, then who really knows as to how strong these guys would have gotten since the last time that we had went and seen them," with Beerus having to then respond, "So correct me if I'm wrong here, but that one there is ranked as the second strongest warrior in the entire multiverse, is that right, Whis?" with Whis responding, "No, why yes, Lord Beerus, for Tekira there is indeed the second strongest among his group, with the only other exception being the Grand Minister, and so that would be correct, for he is indeed the second mightiest in the entire cosmos," with the Grand Priest then having to respond, "Well, now that the mightiest within the multiverse have officially departed after sharing their final words with both Goku and Vegeta, it is now time to turn your focus on what lies ahead, for it is my responsibility to now outline the framework of this upcoming Omniversal Tournament of Power event, and so because of this, I will need for you all to listen very closely, as what I'm about to say will ultimately apply to every single one of you," the Grand Priest continues, "as now that the Omni Kings in their infinite wisdom have decided that instead of having this tournament solely revolve around the Battle Royale match concept similar to the first Tournament of Power, the Omni Kings as a substitute have both agreed that this time we will see more of a bracket-style tournament take place instead, and as each contestant or team will progress through various elimination rounds until the roster is narrowed down to its final two competitors, but through this, the Omni Kings with full control of their Omniversal God Pads will determine each of the match types that will occur at random, as this in and of itself could range from a wide selection of match types that goes far beyond the traditional one-on-one battle, the Grand Priest says, and with the Omni Kings in full control of the event through the usage of their Omniversal God Pads, they will not only be responsible in determining the match style that you will be a part of, but they will also determine your partners if selected for a team-based battle, as well as bringing in additional fighters at random during the middle of battle, if they just so happen to call for any additional warriors to go and join the fray. For with this now having to be said, the Tournament of Power 2 will not be limited by warriors who simply inhabit our current multiverse, the Grand Priest continues, but is going to rather showcase warriors from across nearly every other timeline and alternate reality as well, which also just so happens to include both mortals and gods alike, the Grand Priest concludes, which ironically enough, speaking of mortal warriors, similarly to how Goku was given 3 lifeline perks when faced off against the top 5 strongest warriors in the multiverse prior, the Omni Kings have hereby pre-selected both Goku and Vegeta of this dimension to receive 2 Omniversal lifeline perks, which they can go and make use of whenever they go and see fit while engaged within the second Tournament of Power. And just in case if you are curious, the lifeline perks that you have each been awarded due to their likeness of you both are going to be option A, an instantaneous rematch clause if one of you ends up finding yourselves having to lose during any particular round, and option B, the immediate and full restoration of your energy and power during any given battle, the Grand Priest says. However, I must go and add by saying that if you fail to be successful in being declared as the winner of this tournament by the very end, you will either both be annihilated along with having your entire universe be destroyed, or you will either go and forever remain as isolated prisoners within the Null Realm, locked away within an empty realm for the remainder of all eternity, as a shocked Goku and Vegeta then went on to quickly respond, "Wait, so we're allowed to be given 2 lifeline perks each as leverage due to the Omni Kings having to take more of a liking towards us? But if we lose, then we will either be left to rot for all of eternity within the void, fades or be erased along with our entire universe as a result, with Goku responding, and we only get 2 perks instead of being given 3 like how I was shown having to have before? And they both seem dead set on seeing this through until the very end. Now are they, Goku questions? Well, this certainly doesn't sound like it'll be as easy as how I imagined that it would be, with the Grand Prix then having to continue. Well, as according to the Omni Kings, yes, for that would be correct. But speaking of, now as for you, Lord Beerus, for this tournament will also just so happen to call into action every single god of destruction, regardless on whether or not they happen to come from this reality or any other, for you will all be chosen at random and expected to fight while using your full power, regardless of who you end up finding yourself battling against. And if you don't, the Grand Priest continues.
So it's just picking randomly, so it's not like,
then of course,
so it might pick the other Beerus.
Not only will
that's
you be
strong as
stripped
fuck,
away
by
of
the
your
way.
ranking as God of Destruction, but you will also be
I'm pretty sure
erased
they're gonna pick the
along
other
with your
Beerus,
entire
the other
legacy
Gohan.
and replaced by a new Destroyer God, Lord Beerus. Now, I'm not quite sure right now on whether or not Angel attendees are going to be called into action here or not, but what I do happen to know is that both Angel rookies and Angel trainees are in fact going to be competing, and so you can at least expect to find one other angelic being who will also be taking part of this massive tournament, but that much will all vary in the meantime, with Whis responding, "Oh goodness, well I guess the Omni Kings are truly looking to now make this into the biggest possible tournament that they could ever hope to have, with all things considered," with Beerus responding, "What has Goku done? And just why did he have to go and put this idea into the heads of the Omni Kings that they now want to go and hold an execution tournament for the rest of us to pay the price in? Well, because now, look, now I'm going to be involved, but not just me, but now the other gods are also going to be forced and dragged into this mess as well. And the worst part about it all is that they didn't even go as far as to mention about having anything and allowing for us to have any kind of lifeline perks to help us in this situation either," with the Grand Priest continuing. And to further add, the Omni Kings have also instructed that there will be in fact 2 rewards awaiting for the winner of this Omniversal event, along with ensuring that every battle will be worth having to stake your life for, as the Omni Kings also went on to set into place a graveyard option, the Grand Priest continues, where losers of any of the previous battles that were involved prior may be pre-selected or chosen via choice to be brought back into battle, as graveyard fighters will only be given 1 chance to atone for their losses prior, otherwise they will be gone and erased forever, the Grand Priest says, as there will be no exceptions to this rule, for it will also happen to apply and involve both mortal warriors and destroyers alike, as an angry Beerus went on to then point out towards Goku by then shouting, You, this is all happening because of you and your big mouth, which you never seem to want to close, and so now thanks to you, we are all going to have to suffer through the consequences of your actions, and it's all because of you, Saiyan, as this is all your fault. Oh no, let go of me, Whis, let go of me right now. Oh, you better go and pray that I don't get my hands on you, Goku. Now let go, Whis, with Goku responding, Me? Wait, but what exactly did I do here, and how exactly is this my fault, Lord Beerus? Oh man, hey,
it is your fault.
Could you maybe try and go and do something by keeping Lord Beerus at bay here, because, well, he kind of looks as though he's about to explode out there. But then, it was only just upon with an angry Beerus being shown leaping out of Whis' arms, indirectly having to pounce on top of Goku, was when Beerus went on to then quickly shout, You're a dead man, you hear me, Saiyan? A dead man, you hear me? And so now this is what you get for going and dragging me into your nonsense, you empty-headed buffoon. Now hold still, Goku. Oh dear, Whis went on to then quickly respond upon having to oversee Beerus pouncing on Goku. Could we not go and do this right now, you two, for I don't want to have to be the one to go and say I told you so later on, with the Grand Priest responding, No, my, for it seems as though Lord Beerus has quite the temper here today, now doesn't he? But let us go and try to not get too carried away here while while we still have the time, because as much as I admire your enthusiasm for battle, I must go on to remind everyone that there are still matters which we need to go and discuss, and especially in regards to the rules and conditions of this upcoming Omniversal event, as there will be more than enough time for you all to go and settle your disputes within the arena and under the watchful gaze of the mighty Omni Kings, the Grand Priest continues. And so, let us now just go and save these matters for a later time when the stakes are at their absolute most important. But then, it was all the while elsewhere within an alternate future timeline labeled as B6482, was where we only then take a look at seeing as to how Goku Black was severely battle damaged and seemingly trying to get away from 3 individuals that were standing right before him, as Goku Black then went on to quickly respond, "Why, you disgusting creatures, you dare lay your hands on me and
Goku Black getting his ass
for me to cower in fear? No, never. And so whatever it is that you are all babbling about, and whatever it is that you are all after, is something that I have no knowledge of, you worms, but know this, for I will make sure that your suffering is etched into the very fabric of time itself once I am able to regain my full strength. For you have no idea on who it is that you are dealing with," Black continues, "and while I don't have the slightest idea of what it is that you are after, nor do I care, mark my words, for once I am able to regain my focus, I am going to slaughter you all without hesitation for what you went and did to me." "Well, go and try as you'd like," one of the dark individuals went on to then respond, "for we will simply watch as you crumble beneath our feet as you perish trying, fallen Kaioshin, for you are far more than just a disgrace, for you are a parasite, and a parasite such as yourself doesn't deserve to exist within our world, and since you do not possess the necessary information of the relics that which we seek, then you are no longer useful, nor are you needed in order to further what it is that we are looking for, and so, since there is no one left for us to go and devour on this barren world, then all that is left for us to go and deal with here is you, fallen Kaioshin, and as this just goes and leaves both you and the Dementors here to go and finish what was already started, mortal," with Goku Black responding, but I don't understand, and just what kind of purpose would you have by searching for these ancient relics, this so-called infinity orb and primordial codex of which you speak of? Why is it that I had never heard of such ancient relics by anyone before?" Black went on to then question. "Not once by that rotten Kaioshin Gowasu, nor from any of the other gods of destruction during my time, and just what kind of dark power do these rare artifacts possess in which you are looking for?" As one of the dark individuals then went on to respond, "Well, even if we were to go and explain to you as to what kind of power lies within such objects and items in which we seek, you aren't going to be alive long enough to be found doing anything with this valuable information anyways, you traitorous vermin. And as we all know about your goals and what it is that you had strived to achieve," a tail went on to then completely impale Goku Black through the heart by then responding, "and then because of such actions, you will now have to go and suffer the consequences behind each and every single one of them." You are all making a mistake, for we are all fighting on the same side, Black then went on to quickly respond, "for our vision is the same and our goals are the same, and so why would you go and turn against me like this when we could have forged an alliance to be together as one?" As one of the individuals then went on to respond, "Foolish mortal, our alliance isn't forged through standing alongside traitorous deities, for our goals in fact are not the same, as you wouldn't have been able to be worthy enough to dwell within our ranks anyways, you disgusting self-centered little worm. Yes, as you should go and consider this an honor, fallen Kai," one of the Dementors then went on to respond, "and as not many are given the opportunity to go and come face to face with me like this, and so now tell me, Master master. What should I go and do with him while he is still able to draw his final breath? The Dementor went on to then ask. Shall I go ahead and give him a slow and painful death by ripping his body apart piece by piece? Or would you rather go and have me make this quick
the old
for him,
dick
my
twist?
lord? As a dark entity that hovered above them went on to then respond. I have no need in having to stand by and continue to look down on this creature's face and knowing about what he has done to defy the orders that have been given onto him. For you may therefore go and take his life now, and you better make it quick, the entity responds. For this is what you ultimately get for having to dare to even go as far as to cross me, fallen Kaioshin. To which it was only then within that very moment, as one of the Dementors went on to completely annihilate Goku Black by having to blast him away, was when the entity then went on to continue. And as there is no word that goes above my own, and for me to have learned on what you had intended on trying to do was a mistake that I will ensure that you and your kind will never live long enough to regret, no matter what timeline we just so happen to go and find you in. And so now come and let us carry on, for I can sense the presence of one more life form on this planet, the entity continues. And since this creature appears to be the only life form left who is remaining, let us now go and find this creature so that I may go and seek them out and have a word with them personally. As it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Omniverse, the official top 5 strongest warriors in the multiverse sequel manga chapter number 7 special, then comes to a close.
Oh, he better pull up on Future Trunks. Don't pull up on my nigga Future Trunks, bro. What he do, man? He already got it bad enough, man. Damn. But shout out to UnrealEntGaming. Okay, so we got the rules for the Tournament of Power from the Grand Prix. It's a lot of rules. There's a lot of stuff. You can bring a nigga back to get a rematch or something. I don't know. There's a lot going on there. But anyway, shout out to UnrealEntGaming. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last video right here. Check out another video right here. And I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.